Welcome to the Nitpicking Nerds and another Top 10?
This time, the top 10 must-have Commander cards from Commander 2021.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. You can show your support for our daily Commander content by simply subscribing. That is all. Time for the video. That was fast. Whoa. What are we doing?
Well, we're doing the top 10 must-pick-up cards from C21, baby.
Oh, yeah. Let's just jump right into the honorable mentions. They didn't quite make the list, but they're good cards in their own right. Some of the commanders here. We'll just start getting into it. Adrix and Neve and Will of Dusk. They're really good commanders. They're good in their exact deck. Adrix and Neve is probably going to even be in some 99s. Just doesn't. It's so specific, the abilities, that they kind of just don't tend to.
Yeah, exactly. Adrix and Eve is literally only decks. They're doing tokens, and Will of Dusk is only life gain in black-green. And black-green life gain is, you know what commander does that? Will of Dusk, and that's about it.
Yeah, so then there's also Marshland, Bloodcaster. I'm just going to call this effect Bolas' Citadeling. If Bolas' Citadel is one card, it's like 5 mana for a vanilla creature, and then it just doesn't quite, all the numbers don't add up right. Not like, they don't add up to Bolas' Citadel, that's for sure. What's the last one?
It doesn't add up, but on a note of it, it's still in the honorable mentions for a reason, because that effect is obviously very powerful. And the last one, Monologue Tax. This card's good. It's Smothering Tithe-esque light.
Honestly, it is absolutely just a completely different card, but it does say enchantment, and it does say treasure.
It says enchantment, it says treasure, and in the art, someone is throwing up some sort of coveted thing worth money.
Yeah, I don't like the comparison to Smothering Tithe because it's strictly different. This isn't even close. It's a good card, though. It's just in a similar vein. It has the word opponent on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think this card's good. I mean, it's probably like number 12 or so on this list, but not quite going to make our list. So let's hop into it. First one, number 10, is Lore Shield Clockwork Scholar. Tuna White for a 2/4 Elephant Artificer. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking artifacts you control. Whenever one or more artifacts enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So we really don't care about the blank text of the attacking artifacts thing, but that second ability is really good. If it didn't trigger once per turn, there's no way this would be number 1.
Yeah, this would definitely be number 1. It's the most specific of the top 10, which is why it's number 10. It's not going to go in a ton of decks, like every card on this list, honestly. But when there's a bunch of kind of artifact creatures you're just going to play anyway, like Burnished Hearts, your Solemn Simulacrums, there's tokens that you make that are just artifacts anyway. There's so many different ways to trigger this. I think it's going to end up being good, and it's really good for white, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, there's tons you're going to play anyway, and as soon as you start building around this guy, he quickly just becomes a powerhouse.
How many do you need? 3 before it's like, okay, this card was amazing.
Yeah, and I love that, like, in his own deck, when he's the commander, card like Shimmermere is amazing. Like a card that's not like, it's never over the moon good in any deck, but in this deck, it is over the moon good.
You're losing your mind with that. Yeah. What's number 9?
Number 9 is Oscar the Reconstructor.
He is 2 red, white for a 4/4 Vigilance. 1, sacrifice an artifact. Target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. X, tap, exile an artifact card with mana value X from your graveyard. Create 2 tokens that are copies of it. Activate only as a sorcery. He wants you to play artifacts, and once you're doing it, this card is completely insane.
This card really is just completely insane, like you said. You don't even have to be playing a super high concentration. If you're playing like 10 to 15 artifacts, this card will just do its thing. And all those artifacts getting doubled is, if you don't know how strong this card is, like something as simple as a Chromatic Star. That is not a very good magic card overall, and you don't put it in any EDH deck. It goes to your graveyard. All of a sudden, you pay 1 mana, you get 2 of them. Now it's, what? That's a 1 mana divination? I'll take that all day.
Yeah, it's a sack outlet onto a card that's, well, once you sacrifice creatures, I know what you can do with them. Make more of them. This isn't even just a Boros commander in its own deck. This can just go in any artifact deck with red and white in it. Like a Breya deck.
Yeah, exactly. And I love there's just so many, another cool thing, just Wormcoil Engine. How good is that? Like, I'm not a big fan of Wormcoil Engine again. I don't put that in that many decks. But when you can make 2 for 6, well, that's a really good rate.
How about like Hedron Archive, something that's totally mundane? You're just drawing a million cards and you get 1 million mana. We'll move on to number 8, which is a board wipe.
It's Oversimplify. 3 green blue for a sorcery. Exile all creatures. Each player creates a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token and puts a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the total power of creatures they controlled as they were exiled. The absolute most important thing to realize right away is what colors this card is. This is a blue-green card. You put this in black, you put this in white, it's horrible. But blue-green deck specifically now, blue-green-red, they're just getting another board wipe.
Yeah, blue-green has exactly 0 ways to deal with a board of creatures. If you want to rid yourself of the entire board, remove, not bounce, all creatures, this is like the only thing. So that just bumps it up to, well, this is the best Simic board wipe because there aren't any other hardcore, like full-on Simic board wipes. Xuri's Predation doesn't, it's like a Mizium Mortars, and Cyclonic Rift is just, it bounces and it's better, but it's not a full-on exile effect.
Exactly, yeah. So this is like, if you want to actually answer all the creatures and get rid of them, this is one of the best ways to do it.
The only.
Yeah, the downside, obviously, of this card is that if someone has a really huge board, they're going to have a really scary fractal, but at least you have a chump blocker for at least the first swing at you. Don't make too many enemies, though, because if there's like 2 powerful boards and you get rid of both of them, some people might be like, all right, let's just get him. This guy's he's killing the fun. Oh, no.
I think the fractals might even each other out. I don't know. If you pass to somebody with a 30-30 fractal and they throw it at you, and you're like, okay, chump it, well, the guy who has a 30-30 just tapped his only creature. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's something going on there. And also, you can follow this up with other spells. Slam a Mana Dork or a Wood Elves after, and you're going to have plenty of blockers. You're not going to die to the fractals.
Yeah, this is one of those things. It's just because of the colors it's in, it gets a huge boost up to number 8 here. You put it, again, like you put it in white, it's nothing. But, again, your green-blue decks, the ones that couldn't answer those creatures before, those pesky creatures that were sticking around, they can do it now.
Yeah, it's like a giant raven form. So move on to number 7, which is Vane Witch Coven. 2 and a black for a 3/3 menace. Whenever you gain life, you may pay black. If you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. There is a lot of potential with this card, even though it says play life gain.
Yes, this card loops easily. There's a lot of little tiny loops. Obviously, the really simple ones are like 0 mana creatures, Blood Artist, and Altar.
Yeah, or Pitiless Plunderer.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so there is a ton of that's a cheaper one. If you don't want to spend $90 on that Phyrexian Altar, absolutely a cheaper one to go with the Pitiless Plunderer. This card has cool loops like that, but besides that, if your deck is constantly triggering life gain, if you have Soul Sister, stuff like that, you're just going to get back your best creature for 1 black, and it's going to cost you nothing. Like, you cast this for 3 mana, all of a sudden it's like, and there's a Soul Sister. Okay, so now you pay black. It just did a Gravedigger impression. And every single time you play a creature from here on out, you get the best thing from your graveyard back to your hand.
Yeah, if you're going to get back, you could get back all your Soul Sisters. You just go black. All right, let's play a creature, pay black, get a Soul Sister. Play the Soul Sister, gain a life, pay a black, get the other Soul Sister, pay a black. Now you have multiple triggers to just bring your whole graveyard to your hand of creatures.
Exactly. These are really good. This guy just gets you a ton of value. And what I like about him is he's one of those cards where it's like he himself is going to end up demanding a board wipe as long as you have a way to gain life, because he's going to keep refilling your hand. You don't have to use other resources. You can just use him over and over and over again as long as you have a way to gain life.
Yeah, this was a classic situation where this could have been like a 6 mana 6/6, and I would think, oh, this is so slow. But it's just a 3 mana 3/3 with just a ton of upside. This card's great.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that they've been doing a lot more lately. Like, they used to print their Soul of the Harvest. They used to print their what's the 6 mana? What's the Soul of the Harvest reversed? Harvester of Souls.
Oh.
They used to, Butcher of Malakir. Those are examples of like the cards where when they wanted to put a cost on a creature, they would overcost it. Now they love to aggressively cost them on like smaller bodies, and they're so much stronger.
Yeah, Beast Whisperer and Midnight Reaper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are perfect examples. And now this is one where I think if they had done it in the past, they would have been that 6/6 for 6, and you'd be like, oh.
Yeah, we skipped that and we just got the good version.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. Next, we have Blight Mound. 2 and a black for an enchantment. Attacking pest you control, get +1/+0 and have menace. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you get one of those pests that gain you life when it dies. Okay, so this is doing an impression of Pawn of Ulamog and what's the other one? Sifter of Skulls, which we like those cards a lot. Giving your creature second life is really nice. The downside of this one is it's not a creature itself, but the pests do gain you life.
And then there's an upside of it's not a creature, so when you get board wiped, this effect stays out, and they're going to have to find another way to stop your creatures from just having second lives as pests. It's worse probably than Pawn of Ulamog, I think. The tokens are way better because they're 2/1 menaces with a life gain trigger when they die, but they don't add mana, so they're not good for like comboing. But if you're not comboing, this is good for like more critical mass. Like I'll just drain you for 20 instead of infinite.
Another thing with these, like you were saying, if you get board wipe with this out, these pests attack a lot better than like a Pawn of Ulamog.
Yeah, I mean, Pawn of Ulamog, they literally are 0/1s. They don't do anything. And Sifter of Skulls, they're 1/1s. But these are 2/1s with Menace.
Yeah, 2/1s with Menace. And again, I love that they can tack in as these 2/1s, and they're not great, but they have to be double blocked, and then they die, and you still gain a life. And I assume your deck can somehow take advantage of that.
Yeah, this card, look, I wouldn't underestimate it. It's very good.
I also love that you don't even have to take advantage of that life gain. This card's so good by itself that as long as you care about a second life, who cares? Like the life gain's just gravy.
Get the gravy boat.
So much gravy.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on to number 5. It's Perplexing Test. 3 blue for an instant. You either bounce all non-token creatures or you bounce all token creatures. This is a flexible version of Evacuation.
I really like it when you're playing a token deck specifically. Very, very highly. Otherwise, it's still very strong and will get the job done in just generic decks, especially because I think that isn't Evacuation's just randomly spiking in price.
Is it really?
So Evacuation's up to like $5. This might be budget Evacuation.
I don't know if this card is even... It might just be better than Evacuation. There's a lot of spots where sometimes if you're getting attacked with a token swarm, well, none of my stuff gets bounced. Or I'm the token deck. None of my stuff gets bounced. It's just one-sided Evacuation. And in a regular deck where nobody's really doing token things, they don't come up that often. There's probably 1 or 2 in play. But it's just the same exact card where you can just bounce all the things that matter.
Yeah, exactly. So the versatility can give this a huge burst over a card like Evacuation. But even just being another Evacuation, that's a good card.
Evacuation's good.
It's a very strong card. It's a card we don't talk about much on the channel because it's one of those... Cyclonic Rift kind of always outshines it when you're talking about that bounce, but the card is still very good, especially when you have a low creature count in your deck, and it's just like, well, I only have 1 creature on the board. Boom. Okay, I just bounced 20 creatures.
Reset.
Reset, and I'll recast my 1, and now you guys have 6 card hands each because you thought you could swarm me with all your non-tokens. Swarm.
What's number 4?
Number 4 is Archaeomancer's Map. Tuna White artifact. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 basic planes, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player controls more lands than you, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. One qualification to play this card, non-green decks. As soon as you're meeting that, this card is great. The only card I think that really does this good a job at ramping for like non-green colors is sort of the Animist. But that card's amazing. This card also very good.
Yeah, I can only get you basic planes. I mean, I wouldn't jam this in your 4-color deck, but in a 3-color deck, it's just lands are lands. Sometimes you have Urborg in play anyway, and you don't care. I think it's overall going to be pretty good. It's not the best card in the set. It's just going to be a nice role player for these decks, especially at non-CDH levels.
I mean, you don't even have to look at it as getting the planes. Getting the planes is a great part of it. Like it basically does a little divination impression, but they're planes, obviously.
Yeah.
They go to your hand, and then it ramps you. It keeps you up with the highest player, and it's a great thing for non-green decks to be able to do.
Totally. How about number 3?
Well, number 3 is Commander's Insight.
It's blue for an instant. Target player draws X cards plus an additional card for each time they've cast a commander from the command zone this game. This looks fairly simple. At first glance, it kind of just looks like another Blue Sun Zenith or a Mind Spring or something. But I kind of was thinking about it, and there is no card in Magic that is X, blue, draw X. This is better than that, and it's the floor of this, where if you can cast your commander once, well, it's blue, draw a card. Or now X, blue, draw X plus 1.
Yeah, and if you have a cheap commander who's going to be cast over and over in a game, it can get a huge advantage. You can if you play a 1, 2, 3 mana commander, some of those really cheap commanders that just keep recurring and coming back out, you can easily just end up in a spot where this card draws you an extra 3. You could maybe go 3 blue, draw 3 because you've cast your commander 3 times, and there's no card that does that.
Yeah, X0. And then, I mean, even blue, draw 2 isn't that bad. And there's cards like Emery that just reduce themselves, so you can just keep casting them like forever. And this could draw you like 5 plus X.
Yeah, exactly. And again, most of the time you just get to throw all your mana into it and really refresh your hand, get a huge new hand. But whatever you've cast your commander does, it just adds an extra 1, 2, 3, and those are all going to be gravy because the spell's already pretty decent by itself.
Oh, I actually just thought of some more gravy that I hadn't thought of before, but it does make this card better. If someone casts their commander infinite times, they lose. Targets a player. So if they're doing an infinite loop like with a Dargo, you just kill them.
I absolutely 100% love that.
There's a lot of commanders that do that.
It's so cool. If you do an infinite loop with your commander, you just get absolutely destroyed.
Blue, you die.
It'll stop some of the food chain combos that are really popular in a CEDH and really high power EDH, where like the first sliver decks, the Prosh decks that play those food chain combos, they're gonna go crazy and then they're gonna do their thing, and you'll be like, all right, draw 99 cards.
Oh, you can't? Bummer. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I hate the one thing I do hate about it is because there's no real infinite Magic, and we as Magic players naturally shortcut a lot. We allow infinite when we're doing things. You got to be like, how many times you doing it? I need to. You
have to like
how many times you doing it?
5?
5 times. How about 99? I'll kill you.
A billion. All right, die.
I actually.
That's what you get for having fun.
One little story before we continue to number 2. I got like that before. I was a newer player playing Modern, and I was doing Kiki Jiki.
They Rakdos term you?
Yes, Kiki Jiki.
Pestermite?
No, what's the angel? Restoration
Resto.
Angel. Yeah, so I did that combo.
Oh, even worse.
And
even worse than Pestermite.
And they're like, how many did you make? I'm like, that was 1,000. Kill you. I'm like, no, they got me.
How many did you have? Like, could you have made 6 or 7?
Oh, easily, yeah.
And just one?
And just one, yeah.
And you weren't at 7 or anything? Oh, what? You're hubris.
I just didn't think about it. I mean, it was like, it was for my first year of Magic. This was my first year of Magic and one of my first Modern events ever.
Yeah.
So I was just like, well, what's he gonna do? He can't stop 1,000,000.
Okay, let's move on to number 2. It is Yadora Grave Gardener. What does that do?
4 and a green for a legendary creature, Treefolk Druid, 5/5. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may return it to the battlefield face down under its owner's control. It's a forest. I will be completely honest. I grazed over this card very quickly, and I didn't think once about it. This card's really good.
Oh my god, this is not an effect I've ever seen. It's very similar to the Blight Mound Pawn of Ulamog, except you just get a land. What are they supposed to do about your land that is now in play? It's just, what the heck is this card? It's so weird.
Yeah, you want to play it in some weird Aristocrats deck where you want to ramp anything where you want to play huge spells. Like if you're playing a big stompy monster deck, well, now all of a sudden it's like you build up your board and then you play this guy. And with most games, when you play your stompy deck, you get wiped. Okay, well, now I just have 16 mana. I'll recast all my big monsters.
Yeah, you just doubled my land count. Or in Aristocrats deck, I have this plus a sack outlet. Your move, do you want a board wipe or do you want me to do it myself? Because I'll just make the best decision end of turn either way.
Yeah, this card is super strange. The fact, I love that they come back face down, which is like a characteristic like morphs and manifest. But they're just forest lands. And also, something really cool about this because they're face down. If they have morph, they can definitely be morphed face up using the morph ability because it specifically says face down. So do with that what you will.
Does it stay a forest though when you morph it up?
I believe so. Yeah, it would keep the characteristics of the card. There'll be a forest and the creature.
Colorless land.
Yeah, it's not a colorless land. It just says it's a forest, but it's colorless because face down cards are colorless.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a lot of weird rulings, but this card is amazing, and I would pick some up if it's going to be a couple dollars for sure. You're going to end up playing this.
Yeah, this card 100% is going to lead to a lot of questions on whatever the judge website is. I mean, it just has a lot of, like I said, if something has morph, that's already a weird interaction. Like, that's strange.
Do I have to keep track of, do my opponents have the information of what cards are which? I don't know. Maybe not because they're face down, but I mean, how do you exile them face down without them seeing?
They definitely do because, like, with morph, you have to keep track of which one's which.
Right.
So when if they trigger in the graveyard, they come back face down. They do know
some
which
order.
card is which.
I'm done with this rulings. This card's really good. You should play it, and none of these corner cases matter.
Yep. You actually. So last little ruling thing.
Oh.
You do have to keep track of the number. So if you have 6 of them, you have to keep track of what order they came out on. Technically.
Or just win the game next turn.
That's also fair. So the last card here, and the best card from the whole set, number 1, Stinging Study.
This card is 4 and a black for an instant. You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the mana value of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. I don't even have to cast my commander to draw these cards. Obviously, this card is very specifically asks you to play a commander that costs at least 4 or 5.
I'm looking for 6. Honestly, that's what I'm looking for with this card. As soon as your commander hits 6, which that's a higher cost. That's not a ton of commanders. But every single one with black that plays 6, 5 mana draw 6 is very, very good.
It's like a little mini baby ad nauseum.
Yeah, exactly. I think this card is just so strong. The card advantage is F5. This is an instant too. I love that this card is an instant. You can hold up your removal with this card, and it's in black, so obviously you have a ton of removal. And you can decide which one you want to do at the end of turn. If you're playing an even bigger commander, like I love that, like Kamal, who's a partner. So you don't even have to, like, your deck doesn't suffer that much because Kamal's just your big game ender. Then your other one's Tormod, and that's your game plan and everything. Okay, I'll just pay 5, draw 8 cards. That feels completely insane.
Yeah, I mean, in a Lisa deck, you tell me you don't want a 5 mana draw 5?
Absolutely want to draw 5 mana draw 5. This is going right in my Lisa deck. I have a little list that I've been making of cards from this set I want. This is one of them.
You're telling me you need 6 or more. This card is going to be very good. I mean, there's obviously the wombo combos like Carador, maybe. I mean, it's not a creature, but like it's not a spell you're ever going to get on a creature. So Carador potentially, like Dragon, those 5-color nonsense, Progenitus, you like draw 10.
Yeah, maybe it is 5. You're right. Yeah, I think 5 might be the golden number you're looking for this card.
Because when you draw 4, it's so similar to the other cards that are just bad and like below rate. There's the Read the Bones, 3 mana draw 2, bad. There's the Ambitions Cost, 4 mana draw 3, like bad.
The Ancient Cravings.
So
right?
once you hit instant and 1-for-1, I think you like break even.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the cards the rate of draws are usually 1 less than getting the card back. So it's like you always basically.
I mean, divination, concentrate, tidings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that shows exactly what the rates you normally get. But yeah, if this one it can break those rates, and when you break the rates, it's when you get to a really, really strong card. And in a deck like Liza, like we were talking about, this has the extra added bonus of, well, you're a life gain deck. Well, the life loss just doesn't matter to you at all. All right, but those are the top 10 cards from C21. Special shout-outs. Well, this is the end of our video. Special shout-outs to all of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. If you want to become part of our community of awesome people, we have a Discord. It is free to use. Click on the link in the description. Patrons get extra bonus in the Discord, but everyone's welcome in the Discord. You will see me in chat about daily.
Yeah, come hang out. We play commander games with people. We don't charge for them. We just hang out and talk with you guys.
Yeah, I also think I want to, this is probably in the near future, implement a community day for us to play EDH games with our fans.
I'm thinking like we could either do like a game a week or something, or just pick up once a month and we just do, all right, we're going to be jamming games all day.
I'm thinking once
I got to quit my job.
Once you're done with being pizza man, we can just pick Sundays and just do
one of those.
Do like a 3 to 4 hour period on a Sunday and just play a few games with people.
Totally. You can check out the link in the description. It takes you to tcgplayer.com. Once you're at tcgplayer.com, buy cards like you normally would. Just start with our link, and when you check out and actually finalize buying them, if we get a kickback on the order, it just helps support the channel and support local businesses because that's who's on TCG Player anyway. It's like you're donating to charity. But better.
Yes, absolute free roll. We appreciate that so much. Exactly. You're going to buy all the cards you want anyway. You're a Magic player. If you're using TCG Player, super free roll. If you haven't been using TCG Player,
consider it
because TCG Player is really awesome. Honestly, we communicate with a few people there all the time, and they're really awesome people.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to check out. Even if you got a bunch of different items, they have like that cart optimized thing, and I just ordered cards the other day, and I clicked it, and I'm like, oh, that was easy.
I'm going to get Card Market or something in Europe because everyone in Europe wants us to do something. I've had so many people message me about it. It's like, I want to, but like I couldn't get Card Market had like a weird thing and I couldn't figure out anyone else in Europe. Ugh, sad.
That sounds like a tidbit to me.
We want people in Europe to also be able to support us if you can.
Yes, we want everyone to give us their money.
Yeah, I don't even want your money directly. I want you to buy cards like you normally would, and then we get money because
kickbacks.
We're helping you, and we help each other. We're here for each other.
And now we're not here for you anymore because the video's over.
Is it?
Yeah.
Peace out, Tribe Scout.